I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is Stoneblock 4. Now, last episode, jumping back into some more Stoneblock 4, I met some new faces. Well, some new echoes specifically. The Wormrite, the Twilight, and the Ancient. And well, after seeing the Wormrite, I was like, Draconic Evolution was something that we are going to have to get into very soon, which definitely meant power. So I did set up all of these generators that we have here. However, they're not being utilized just yet because we are still connected up to our gas burning gens, which are producing enough currently to power our whole base. But soon as we start to expand our network, we are going to need what these bad boys are generating, which at the moment is around 130,000 extra RF per tick, which is very, very nice and is going to be helpful pushing us through mid-game. Now today, I do want to utilize some of that power, well, for growing things, because I do want to upgrade our chickens, and I want to actually make the seeds viable, and I want to be able to upgrade some of our chickens and get them to the max tier by utilizing some of that magical time I've got stored in my temporal pouch. But I mean, at the moment, this has been pretty decent at generating seeds. It's been doing all right, but I'm going to be getting into another form of seed generation today that is going to be, well, kind of old school, but also new school. And that is going to be the good old-fashioned garden cloche. But don't think that this thing right here is going to be your classic slow garden cloche. No. When this is combined with Just Dire Things, this thing rips. Now, I can buy them, but I'm actually going to be, well, needing quite a few of them. So I think I'm going to actually craft them, which is not too bad to craft, by the way. This is all very easy to get. We just need some treated wood, and they actually make it really easy to get that in this pack. And that is through the advanced coke oven. Yes, we just take a regular coke oven and a block of iron, a little bit of lava, and voila, we can actually request one of these from the world engine. And it doesn't even have a tier requirement. It's just a fancy block that's going to allow us to produce stuff. Now, taking a look at some things that I have done while that is crafting up, I went ahead and got some more extractors set up. And that also meant getting some glass, and all I did was just take some water, and I utilized my entropy manipulator and some silk touch till I had enough to make some blue ice. With that blue ice, I was able to do this. Look, make an ice generator. Then I was able to definitely get all of these other things set up. Basically, I wanted the stuff constantly being produced that I would use for building typically, but I'm sure we're going to have some other uses for things. For example, it's nice to have Grains of Infinity automated like that. I also decided to move my Moo fluid setup up here too. It's going to kind of match, and anything that we can generate fluids within a single block is going to be pretty nice, including the thing that we're about to do right now, that coke oven, right? So the coke oven is going to go right here. It is going to take a power gate, and I'm just going to toss this on. Now, we are going to be setting up these garden cloches. It's actually very easy to get set up. But after we do that, I actually want to take on the Ancient. Yes, and hopefully by the end of today's episode, we should be able to make this euphonium that it's asking for. But it is also going to require us to dabble a little bit more into Ender IO. But outside of that, we have everything except for Cursium, which is something that we're going to have to get from a very particular boss battle, it seems. Now, I'm going to slap some power onto here, and I'm just going to throw blocks of coal in it for right now. And this is going to produce coal coke blocks, but it's also going to produce that creosote that I need. So I do want to get that pumped into a drawer. And thankfully, this is just like the world engine. It has configurations for all the sides, including the fluid output here, which I can set to the bottom as an output and have the auto output on. It's going to be so nice. So drawer goes in, a couple of upgrades go there. As soon as that generates, I'll be able to lock it up and add this to the network. And voila, there we go. We have 4.5 buckets just like that added to this. And now the cool thing is I should be able to make treated wood very simply from this mod by using auto crafting within AE, because we can now see that oil that has now built up in here. Specifically this recipe right here to make treated wood. Now, something I want to do is turn on the fluid substitutions. So try to use fluids instead of the items in this. And whenever we do this, it should be able to make these treated wood planks instead of trying to use a bucket of creosote oil. And let's see if it will actually do this. Yep, there it goes. You can see that that has crafted, and voila, we can now craft up treated wood planks making this so much easier on us. And as I have myself an engineer's workbench, and where am I going to put this? I don't know. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to put it, I'm actually going to put it inside of our factory room. I think this would kind of look nice in here. I've also added these platforms because I do plan on expanding our refineries. And so the idea here is that we'll expand it and it will go up here. And this, by the way, is just some copycat panels from Create. And I'm using andesite basically I put an andesite in a stone cutter and it makes this fence and it fits perfectly inside the copycat panel and it's on the outer edge kind of, which I think is pretty cool. Anyways, I'm going to plop this down. We can take this, for example, I can show you exactly how this works. Pop that off, place this in, and then in the back, if I put the copycat panel in my main hand and then the andesite bars on my offhand, I can then just place it in like that. Beautiful. Now for the bulb, I just need a regular engineer's blueprint. We toss that in there and look at this. We can now produce a bunch of bulbs from some very basic materials. So now after that, I welcome you to my grow space. Yes, I have one on this side and this side, which is going to be about 180 garden cloches. That sounds wild, but we are going to need a lot of them at the bottom for our seed production. And so this is how I plan on setting this up. Now, right here is going to be a power cable because these machines need power from the top. And then this back here is going to be where I set up water. So I am going to have a mechanical pipe that is running along the back, very much like this. And that should automatically accept and well connect to everything. We can use the configurator then to shift right click to pull water out of the flower. That's going to fill up the tank and also the garden cloche. And then this orange dot right here is actually where this machine auto outputs the product. So we can just put a regular drawer right here and that will send automatically to a functional storage drawer. Now the power cables, they will be connected like so, but I do have a plan for these power cables as I do want to hide them and also make them kind of look like the stairs down here. And by doing this, or to be able to do this, we're going to get into the cable covers mod. There is a mod, believe it or not, that we can kind of facade these cables with. Actually, many cables we can facade this way. And I'm going to place the stair right here and just click. And look at that. It looks like the cable is inside of the stair. And whenever I add a new garden cloche, for example, like this, you can see it automatically connects up. And now both sides are all placed in. Yeah, you blink and then it's done. I've also just auto-crafted 180 drawers that we are going to need to attach to the face here. Now, it does seem like a lot, and honestly, I don't really need 180 drawers for the bottom sections, as I'm going to use a special type of drawer for those that we are going to be able to hopefully get all set up. But this right here, look at that. Beautiful. For the bottom row, this is where I'm going to utilize a very special feature that is a part of functional storage, and that is ender chests. It sounds kind of weird, but there's drawers that utilize ender chests and work in a similar fashion. However, it can be kind of finicky. If you've ever used it before, you'll definitely know. But I'm going to show you how you can use the linking tool or another linking tool to be able to command all of these new drawers. So let's go to functional, and I need to make about 61 of them. It's like a weird number, but we do need extras. Just got to build a few recipes here. So how do these ender drawers work? So I'm going to place an ender drawer right here, and it has a sort of frequency value that is assigned to it. And I can put some seeds in it, and this drawer next to it isn't linked up. To be able to link it, you punch it with your linking tool, and that is going to assign the frequency to the linking tool, and then you shift right click with that linking tool to then assign it here. And this stores 8.2 thousand items in it, and unfortunately there is no upgrades in here to expand that size. So we are sort of limited to that amount, but it does allow us to send these items instantaneously and allow all of these machines to work towards constantly filling this, which is going to be a really good idea, especially when we need to keep these chickens constantly fed when they are max upgraded. And so just like any other drawer, I can just place them all down like this, even though I don't have anything in these on the bottom, and then just link them all together just by shift right clicking to change their frequency. So beautiful. These are all linked up, and I made an extra one because I do want to have my seeds basically be set right over here, and we can have this in the wall because I do want to use SFM for this whole setup. We'll get to that very, very soon, but for right now, we do have another problem. I don't really want to use this tier seed at the moment if I can, I would prefer to at least upgrade to the next tier seed, which is tier 8, which will allow us to get nether star chickens. Now, the only thing I'm lacking is a few nether stars, but I do have the netherite chickens that are going to be needed to make these nether star chickens. And the reason I need quite a few of these is because we actually need a few of these chicken soul eggs to be able to get up to that next tier. So I think in total I need about 8 nether stars, which shouldn't honestly take me very long. I already have 2. And don't mind me, just getting the job done quickly. Now I'm gonna pop on over here, drop those in, and that is perfect. Nice. So that's everything we need to be able to at least make our base seed. But we are also going to need the nether star chickens. I kind of really want those things. And there we go. We've got ourselves the nether star chicken, and we just need to make the last thing, which is going to, well, require a little bit of draconium dust and also some blaze powder. And that is actually portal frames that it's requiring here, which is kind of interesting. These are draconium infused obsidian, which, like I said, is typically used for the draconic portals. And voila, we now have ourselves the chicken seeds that we're going to need. This one is the tier 8 chicken seed. Now, let's actually get this inside of here and get it to start growing. Now, before we do this, though, there is a little bit of a progression that we need to take in Just Dire things, because what makes this whole thing work is being able to actually make the Just Dire soil and putting it inside here. But now, thankfully, we are right at the ability to be able to make Shadow Pulse goo, because we do have Dragon's Breath that is being produced over here. And so we have plenty of that ready to go. So it's time to upgrade this, and we do need some netherite blocks. And I think at least 2 of them is probably enough to kind of get us started with this mod. And if I remember correctly, is this Ender Pearls? I think Ender Pearls possibly work on this. Yes, they do. Ah, it's so nice. And we'll drop those down in here and let them convert, and we'll have ourselves a hoe in no time. So all I really need is the Eclipse Alloy Hoe. We'll take that and some dirt, and we combine this with the dirt, and I think it's in 2s. Yes, and we end up getting ourselves some Shadow Pulse soil. And this is the soil that I do want inside of every single one of these garden cloches. But now, I do want to go ahead and get this started. So I'm going to place this in and the seed, and we're going to see this starts producing 3 every time, and all of these are now showing. But I can go ahead and take out some of these, and that way I can kind of put it right here. So I go into each one of these and just simply drag up, and I'm going to be storing all of these inside here. This is going to build up incredibly fast, especially with all of these running on the bottom. I don't think we're going to even need to put bone meal or anything in this slot. I think this is going to be plenty for now. So now with all of these running, this is going to cap out very, very quickly. And all it has to do is just simply produce regular seeds. There's no byproduct. Really, really easy for us to handle all of this. But here's where things are going to get a little bit interesting. I don't think that this is going to be able to keep up with the demands of all of this running once we have all of these upgraded with at least 1 diamond upgrade. So how am I going to do this? I think SFM, or Super Factory Manager, will ultimately be the best way to handle it. And I've already sort of tested this out. There is kind of a problem with getting into SFM, and that is that it's going to cost us some inventory cables. And the inventory cables, well, they're not the cheapest thing in the world, as they do require Matter network pipes. I do have the auto crafting setup for this, but it does mean we need replica. And the way that we actually get the replica ore is to just simply toss diorite into a spirit fire, and we get ourselves other rock that we can then brush. And I think later on down the road, brushing this myself is probably not going to be the best option, but for now, it should be able to get the job done. I mean, this is going to get quite a bit, and I think it's going to be plenty for what we're working towards. Now, this is going to be pretty cool, though, because we are going to be handling not only the sending of seeds, but also the sending of items into these drawers. Now, at the moment, I do have all of these puller cards, but I'm actually going to be removing all of these puller cards because SFM can just handle it with like about 5 or 6 lines of code. It's not even really code. It's just simply input text. I'm going to show you here in a second how easy this really is. The first thing I really want to do, though, is I want to have an SFM cable connected to every single roost and also every single drawer. And then we also want to make sure that those cables are connected to each other. For example, right here, what I'm going to do is have this cable connected like so, and then this is the roost. These are all going to be connected, and I'm going to run this line all the way down till we end up over here, and it'll be connected up. But everything else is just simply going to look like this, right? Where we have these cables that are running, just as long as it becomes one long cable network. That's kind of all we need. And to connect one side to the other, I'm actually going to run this underground. There is a facade built into these cables, by the way, that we are able to use. But right now, I'm just going to be breaking this. I'm going to run this through. Actually, we'll go ahead and get rid of this ender chest because we won't be using this same setup anymore, as we should be able to just simply use this ender drawer anywhere we need these seeds to be. But yes, this is going to get ran into the same setup right back here. And now as far as the SFM cables going on the back, we want to make sure one is connected up to this ender drawer here. And then on this side, I want this to be connected to the actual controller itself, which is a single block. Now in here, there are a couple of recipes. We have the regular crafting recipe, which I don't know if it's supposed to be existing, as this does seem like the recipe we're supposed to be using. Either way though, both of them are doable at this current moment. And like I said, I just want this factory manager to be right here. Now there's a couple of other things we need in order for this to work. We need a label gun, and we also need the disk that is going to store well the program. And there we go. We have a label gun and we have a factory manager program disk. And this is where things get really, really easy. You put the disk inside, click view examples, and then click a simple program. And by the way, all of your documentation is handled inside of those areas right there. But this is really all we need. And then we'll just simply hit done. That assigned that exact program into here. And it is a literal program that goes take items from one inventory and send them to another. And those inventories are labeled A, and then another inventory is labeled B. But we can actually assign those to be anything. So we can say input, which is going to be take from something and kind of store it temporarily. And then output is send to something. Now, we technically need to pull seeds out of that ender, and that's what we're going to do. So we can say ender drawer, and that's what we're going to name it. Ender drawer. Like so. That is super simple. Now, we need to send it to somewhere from that ender drawer. And so I'm going to copy this line down here, which is the output to. So I'm going to copy that. And in the next line, we'll go ahead and put that in and just kind of clean things up to make it look nice. And this is going to just be sending to the roost. Perfect. And now we have two different variables in two different locations. That's perfect. That's exactly all we need. This is taking seeds, and it's going to send seeds into the roost, any roost that's connected every 20 ticks. But now I also want to take items from the roost, and I want to send it to the drawers. So let's also redo this. So I'm going to clear this line just to kind of clean things up a little bit and kind of get rid of that. End basically ends the program. But yeah, let's basically do the exact same step, but we're going to rename these variables. So we'll say input from, and this time we're inputting from the roost. And we need to send the items from the roost to a new variable, and that is going to be output to. And let's say, okay, we're outputting to, but to where? And this one is just going to be a regular drawer. And we're going to label these variables here in a second. But there is one other thing, because we are doing this every tick and we are handling multiple variables, I would like to use another little function that is going to take place into here that is going to be called forget. And that's because I technically want it to run this, then forget the information about these variables, and then I want it to redo them down here. It may not be 100% necessary for this to function, but I don't really want it to hold on to seeds looking for an inventory while also pulling these items here. Now, this is going to run every single tick, and look how simple this is. Like I said, it's only like 5 lines right here. It's super easy. We hit done. We're ready to go. This program is technically good. All we have to do is tell the factory manager what those things are. And we actually do that with the label gun. We shift right click. So I'm shift right clicking, and I've loaded those items onto the gun. And now I can go, okay, well, what is a drawer? What is an ender drawer, and what is a roost? We do know that the ender drawer is this right here. And so we need to just click it, and look at that. It is now labeled as the ender drawer. Then we can go into our drawers, Make sure you have your drawers locked, by the way, for this. That way you can add it. Even the ones that don't have items in it, make sure they are locked in these networks. But if there are the same type of inventory connected on this cable, we can actually hold down control and we can label every single one of them that is chained together, which makes this whole process very, very easy. And notice we're just labeling this one drawer. And then our next one, we'll click and we'll call this Roost. And then we'll do the same thing. We'll shift right click and we'll just tell SFM, hey, all of these blocks right here, these are what's considered a roost that you need to try to send in items to and take items from. Once we get all of this done, we just right click and that pushes all of the labels into here. And so now what we can do is we can take out all of these puller upgrades because we no longer need these things in here anymore because SFM is just going to be handling this from now on. And now I tell you, SFM is such a powerful mod because every 20 ticks that it's doing this, by the way, doing this operation, it is trying to send as much of it as possible. So 64 bone would be in here. Every 20 ticks, it's going to try and send whatever's in this inventory immediately into here without questions asked. Now, currently we do have the tier 7 seeds in here, but this is actually going to change. Notice if I pop into here and I pull these tier 7s out, look at that, tier 8 seeds, a whole stack of them ended up going in here. And that's right, because it can send as much as this inventory will let it hold. Very, very powerful. We're going to be using SFM also later on. It can handle fluids and many other things, being very, very powerful, by the way, for like the reactor. Yeah, for Mekanism, for example. And looky there. So now we have our Nether Star chicken and I have a place for the Nether Star chicken. All I have to do now is just place the Nether Star inside of the drawer. And look, SFM now goes, oh, I have somewhere that I can put Nether Stars. And so it's going to start putting them there. And you can see the number going up. It's working. And now what I can do is just completely get rid of all of this stuff that we laid out because I do not need this anymore. So now I have myself another room that I can put something else in that doesn't make a ton of noise. There are a few tips and tricks with the SFM. If you do happen to break any of the storages or any of the roosts and you move things around, be sure to click this button right here, Rebuild Cable Network. And what this is going to do is going to refresh your cable cache and all of that fun stuff. And it should relink everything and make sure everything is correct because you can end up with issues where SFM goes, I have nowhere to send stuff. So I'm going to instead void it. So yes, that is a way to avoid items being voided. Now, another thing I want to start doing is I want to take some of my chickens out, some really important ones. For example, like my iron chicken and maybe my copper chicken and my gold chicken, for example. I need to get those guys leveled up. So I want to put as many of those chickens in my inventory as possible so that way I can level them all up in one go. Coal is also going to be really important. We're going to need quite a lot of coal in the future. And now that I have a few of these chickens in my inventory, I've linked a pipe up. And so I can click this to send these seeds into here. And I've just got to level this up. Now, I want to get rid of the seeds that are in here because these are the higher level seeds. They're going to give more XP. Of course, the higher level seeds you have, the faster this is going to go. And I'm going to spend some of my temporal pouch time on this. Well, let's put our iron chicken in here and level that up to 256 and let that bad boy rip. We want to get these all the way up to 128. That way, every operation, they produce a stack at a time. And this is where things just get absurdly ridiculous on resource generation. Like I said, I want to make the most of my time. So when it caps out, I'm just going to quickly put a new chicken back in here. And by the way, some chickens have different level experience requirements depending on their tier. So the higher the tier, the more experience they're going to take, the slower they are going to level up. And I guarantee we're going to go from the 45 to like no time at all in here very, very quickly. All right. And I think that right there is pretty good. I went from what, 40 something hours to like nothing in here now. There's only like 9 hours, 10 hours worth of time stored in here. Ooh, that's quite a lot. But look at that. We now produce 64 items per operation here. And I could make the SFM faster by basically having 2 separate sets that run independently, or we can keep going and we can offset our code. And you can see examples of this, by the way, over here on time triggers. So what we could do is we could offset and have different code that's running on a global offset or what have you every other tick or every few ticks. and it would run twice as fast, and it could run every tick technically if you really wanted it to. But man, this is where things get interesting. I have leveled this up. The Nether Star, I only leveled it up though to 64 levels. It already produces so much, and it takes a lot to get those up to the highest tier. But some things that I did: iron, copper, gold. I got blaze rods. I got diamonds leveled up. And these things are now producing incredibly fast. But I mean, now for the true test, to take almost all of these and get them all upgraded so they all start running. And that way they have about 50,000 items inside of these barrels each. And getting all of these upgraded so they're running simultaneously, really going to put a test on how many seeds I'm producing. And so there we go. We are holding strong on all of our crops. And yeah, I mean, these guys are running. As soon as this drops down, we're going to really start to see that impact, and hopefully we can keep up. I mean, honestly, it's not going to be too bad if we can't, but I have a sneaking feeling that this is easily going to be able to keep up with all of the seeds. Now, I know you're probably questioning, why did you make so many of these? Well, there's other things that we could actually process too. So not only can we produce like our seeds here, but the garden cloches can do flowers and everything. Like it can even do grass, for example. Now, I don't know if it's going to work on this, but yeah, look at that. It can make all kinds of stuff. I mean, it can duplicate fruits and all, I mean, since we don't have any like kind of essence from the chickens that produce like crop related things, it wouldn't be too bad to have like, I don't know, cactus constantly growing through here, and like coffee beans and really anything. Look at that. We have stuff from ours too. And I absolutely love this. All of these things that we see right here are now fully automated and just passively producing all the products. And we haven't even touched like flowers or anything like that. And I still have so much more space for so many other things, like getting all of the different flower variants would be something kind of fun to have. But I mean, yeah, I have all of these extra spaces for other things. I mean, if I need to produce more of them, I guess I could. Or I could get rid of the top row. We'll see. I mean, we may end up just turning it into more chicken seeds because I'm sure down the road we might need more. But man, so many individual items from all kinds of different mods just work perfectly in here. You can see them all growing too. It's so cool. Now, you know what? After all of this, I'm feeling a whole lot more confident in knowing that I have all of the resources that I'm going to need to be able to move forward and to be able to automate basically anything that I want. These chickens are so very, very, very powerful. And now that we have the seeds to be able to support them, this is going to make life so much easier moving forward. And also the logistics to be able to handle those seeds and handle all of those items, it's just icing on the cake. And now, you know what? After all of today, I think the next episode may be a really good one to go exploring again and possibly complete the Twilight and the Ancients questline all in one video. But I've still got a lot of prepping to do, and well, if you guys did enjoy today's episode, be sure to click that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one, and give this video guys a huge thumbs up to help that YouTube algorithm serve these videos to more people just like you. And well, with that, it's time for me to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks, well, that's going to go out to Cat and Cutie. Thank you so much for your amazing support and choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and supporting my content in one of the best ways possible. You absolute boss. And guys, I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. And as always, thanks for watching.